when I was 16 years old in 1961, in the Sierras while camping in a hunting trip the day before deer season in '61, I saw a great deal of activity as I looked out of my sleeping bag, and it looked like stars and glittering going against each other, and some of them were blowing up and they were firing on each other. So I woke everybody up in the campsite, and they all watched for probably an hour and a half or so. And I still remember my father, who is passed now, but he says, well, I don't know who they are, I don't know what they're fighting over, and I don't know whose side I would be on, and my .270 hunting rifle wouldn't reach them. So I'm going to go back to sleep. But they're real. So I, the curious cat, stayed up until 5 in the morning when the sunlight started to come up, and then I could no longer see them. So then again, I knew that they existed and that they fought with each other, and that there was a battle where all through that whole night it encompassed probably half the earth, because I had watched them for probably 7 or 8 hours through the whole night. And when daylight came, I could no longer see them. And I had counted near 45 kills, and battle procedures and how they maneuvered and how they would circle, how they made head-on runs. And at 16 years old, that was quite a bit to swallow, and I did not believe that I would run into a problem by just trying to tell people the truth. Well, I was wrong. I'd tell people the truth and tell them what I saw. Even my class in high school, my science class, I told the class what I had saw, and got a lot of laughter, and the teacher laughed and everybody else. So I, being a hothead, I got up and walked out of class and told them what they could do with their entertainment. All my life I wondered who they were, what they were fighting about, and then about 1999 I found a pair of these. These are MP7 night visions. And by looking with these and focusing in, I was able to see the spacecraft, and they were flying quite often. They still fought with others. And I realized that there has been a war going on, and as to now, I know it's been going on for over 40 years. And none of them came in and blown up Earth. They're fighting with each other. I don't know who's on whose side. I've never seen a little green man or a gray one, and I believe that they are human beings, or alien-like human beings, that perhaps we are in a situation where we have a truce or a treaty, and we are getting protected in one sense and maybe working with in another, and there may be some trying to come in from another area that's trying to take us over.
Ed has actually shown hundreds of people his way of using these and his way of seeing UFOs. People that were non-believers, skeptics of the phenomena, have actually gone out with Ed and done some sky watching using his night vision goggles, and literally people have fallen to their knees because they're so blown away by what they have seen and what Ed's been able to show them.
Yeah, you told me numerous times about your UFO sightings and stuff. You know, I've been working.
And you were thinking maybe calling a psychiatrist, getting me help?
Well, no, I sympathize for you, so I just wanted you to believe, you know, I wanted you to think that I believed you, so.
And then I got you down here to see.
Well, yeah, a few years later, I finally came down and looked through these night visions, and it was one night that even you said that was probably the most you've ever seen in one night, and the way we saw, I don't know, close to 80 to maybe 100 of them, and it wasn't just one at a time, it was
squadrons.
Squadrons, yeah, of 16, 12, 8, 5, sets of threes, and then a bunch of single ones, and they're just jamming all over the place. So, you know, I don't know what the hell it was. It was something out of this world.
Yeah, I first seen them looking through the night vision goggles, and when you see them, you would think that they're like just like a normal probe or like a satellite in the sky going, but sometimes you see them turning, like usually they'll just turn counterclockwise, but then you would see like another one coming towards them. Sometimes they would battle it out, blow each other up, and I've seen a couple of those happen.
There's a laser scientist, Carl, if I can say his name right, Carl Ostman, that was 5 delta-shaped fighter craft that were probably around 80 to 100 miles up. And he got to see them, and they are extremely fast. And he got to view them flying, turning the corners, and basically changing directions. And as he dropped to his knees and said, "Thank God, I know they're real now." And Carl would be a witness to this. He's worked on Lawrence Livermore's labs of Star Wars and things like that. And he's no dummy. He knows what he saw was real.
It was one time at your house, and that was the night we saw a lot. We saw, you know, more than I even wanted to, you know. It was scary for me, and it was confusing, and it was something that I didn't have an answer for. I had no explanation. I talked about it for a while, and then finally tried to put it behind me. But now Ed wants to bring it back out. Now I'm going to be freaky.
I want to say that Ed Grimsley and I were on the Bob Oliver radio show out of Monterey, California, and Bob Oliver invited a bunch of people to come out with Ed and himself and go out and view through these night vision goggles and you know, the scopes, and look for these UFOs that were up there.
It was my opportunity 3 weeks ago now to have seen UFOs over Monterey Bay, and the way you do this, the easiest way to do it is if you can find someone with a good quality pair of 3rd or 4th generation night vision equipment goggles. Ed and I were outside for about, I would say, less than 10 minutes when we saw the first group of UFOs come over Monterey. There's a whole lot going on that we simply haven't had time to experience yet. It's the next experience. With simple night vision equipment, which wasn't available prior to 1970, 75, that you too can eyewitness UFOs in the sky.
Yeah, it was this one night that we had a airplane and UFO crash investigator there.
Yes.
And he was with us here at the same spot, and Rick was here. That night I saw over about 80, and the most I saw together in a cluster, in a squadron, were about 14, and the less I've seen were about 4.